Hello my ghouls and ghoulies, and welcome back once again to the channel. My name is Dorian Blackleg, your humble master of ceremonies, and this is episode 2 of Vlad the Impaler. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Now where we last left it, I had committed the terrible, I feel, mistake of bringing the girl that was bitten by a ghoul into the care of a physician. Now, I don't know how that's gonna affect our future, but I guess we will find out. Anyways, now we have access to the palace, so let's head over and see what we can uncover. Sneak inside or assist an excavation. Don't think I'm gonna be very good at sneaking, but I'm intrigued about assisting an excavation. You arrive at the palace in a coach, having been summoned by the Sultan's Master of Antiquities. You are ushered inside the gates, escorted to one of the far corners of the palace grounds. There seems to be some sort of excavation going on there, yet there appears to be a large number of Janissary guards present for a mere hole in the ground. An educated man in a white turban approaches you and shakes your hand. "Thank you for coming," he says. "I am the Master of Antiquities to His Excellency. I know it is unorthodox, but I was told to use any resources necessary. I've heard that you have experience in these matters." "Well, I don't know about that. I am a warrior, so I don't know much about excavations, but perhaps my sword can come in help if they unearth any monsters." "What matters, you ask? Let me show you," he replies. The man then leads you down a series of ladders into the ground. At the very bottom, you find yourself in what appears to be a stone tunnel of some ancient architecture. "This has apparently been down here the entire time," the Master of Antiquities says, leading you by torchlight down the tunnel. "We were digging in order to build an underground storeroom for preservation of perishables when we broke through into this tunnel." You look at the reliefs of winged monsters carved into the walls. "These are Persian," you say. "Yes, I know," he replies. "But these are not." He stops and raises his torch. The tunnel ends in two black iron doors. Molded into their surface are strange hieroglyphs. "Do you recognize them?" he asks. Chill runs through your body as you realize where you are standing. "You need to get your men out of here," you say. "Why? What does this mean?" he asks. You turn to him, look him dead in the eyes. "These are the gates of Gog and Magog," you say. Gog and Magog, perhaps, I'm not sure. "They are demons of the ancient world, locked away until the end of days. When they will come forth and do battle with the kingdom of heaven, you cannot open these doors." The Master of Antiquities nods. "It is as I feared then." "Nonsense," says one of the lesser viziers standing behind you. "The Sultan is ordained to rule by the wisdom of Allah. God will not allow His Excellence to build a palace on top of an unholy place." The vizier brushes past you towards the door. Well, I'm gonna trust my instinct here, and even though perhaps I will get in trouble, I'm gonna grab him before he gets any closer. You grab the vizier by the arm and spin him around. Did it not occur to you that it was the intent of Allah for the Sultan to build his palace here in order to safeguard the world from opening these doors? The vizier stares you down. I know who you are, he says, and you are not welcome here. The Master of Antiquities then grabs the vizier's arm and says, His Excellency named me to handle this discovery. My authority in this matter is his own. We live, we bury this place forever. The vizier sneers at the both of you, then turns to storm off. The Master of Antiquities turns to you and says, Thank you for coming and verifying what I dreaded. You have done His Excellency a great service. As payment, I give you a standing invitation to visit the Royal Archives whenever you wish. May it aid you in your research of this hideous darkness that plagues our city. You shake his hand, thanking him. As you follow him back up the tunnel, you think of what a boon that sort of access will be to your investigations. Indeed, being able to research the books from the palace itself is going to hopefully really help in uncovering the darkness that is befalling this city. And yet, as you look over your shoulder at the long, dark corridor, you can't help but wonder how everything would have turned out differently had the wrong man found the gates first. We got a point of intelligence, so that helped with the point that we last lost. So I've been more clever in this situation. And now that we have access to the palace, I would actually like to go back there and investigate the books. Sneak inside. Well, I do not want to sneak inside. I thought I had a pass now. Visit the Basilica, walk through the main room. The catacombs are not accessible anymore. What about the bazaar? Get some baklava, still don't know what it is. Buy a falafel, wander at nightfall. Explore at night, find a local fisherman, or visit the office of the dockmaster. I'm thinking about maybe visiting the office of the dockmaster. But I would also like to visit the Basilica. You are visiting the Basilica before sundown when you notice a group of altar boys gathered around the corner. They seem to be up to something, but you can't tell what. When the priest finally calls for them, they run off, giggling and shoving each other. You approach the small table where they had been gathered around an open box. Peering inside, you find a mouse. The mouse is desperately trying to get out of the box, but the boys have covered the poor thing in lamp oil, so it's just slipping helplessly off the sides. Well, I think that's pretty cruel. I'm not sure. My instinct just tells me to free the mouse, since it's probably not doing any harm to anybody. Hopefully I won't get bit by it. Remembering the mouse... Excuse me. Remembering the mouse that you used to feed at the orphanage, you pull the little creature out of the box and put it in your pocket. Once you are inside of the basilica, you set it free in an alley. As it scampers away, you remember how difficult it can be for a creature so small to get out of going to church. That improved my charm. Morality seems to still be pretty much the same. Right now I'm very charming. So hopefully that helps in my investigation. I'm thinking now, since I'm so charming, perhaps I can get some information out of the Dockmaster. Your investigation leads you to the harbor of Istanbul. It is shortly after dusk by the time you arrive at the office of the Dockmaster. Luckily, ships arrive at all hours, so you presume that someone will be there to help you. When you come upon the small building, you see light through the windows and knock briskly on the door. No, you see light through the windows. I guess I should say, you knock briskly on the door. There is no response. You test the door, find that it is locked. There is light, but I'm wondering if the Dockmaster comes back when I break in. That could be trouble, but what if the door is locked and the Dockmaster is actually dead inside? I think I'm not sure how this is gonna work, but I am leading an investigation. I'll try to break in and search for the manifests that I need. Your lockpicks make short work of the door. You open it to slip inside. What you find is staggering. The office looks as though it has been painted with blood. At least 6 bodies of various clerks and dock workers lie strewn about the room, carved up like Mahatma hams. That's not a good sight. And it seems like my gut was telling me the right thing. Most disturbing of all is the man slumped against the far wall. His forearms sliced wide open, but in his final moments he managed to write a single word on the wall in his own blood. It says, "It's Meju." It is only then that you realize that you are a foreigner standing in the middle of a massacre with several weapons on your person. Yeah, that's not a good sight either. You quickly grab the most recent dock logs and make swift your escape into the night. Someone must have desperately wanted to sneak something through the harbor tonight without being noticed. But who? And more hauntingly, what? It would seem as though your deeds have caused you to build up quite a reputation. People seem comfortable in your presence and offer to buy you drinks at the inn. One particularly keen musician even sings a song about the wandering knight. Well, that warms my heart a little bit. Oh, I'm a knight now. So I'm a bit more dexterous. I have a bit more magic and I'm a little bit more intelligent. Well, this might be the things that I just got, and I have more charm. But yeah, I've become a knight. I think these are my final stats. Chapter 4. You descend the crumped staircase below the city streets. At the bottom, you are faced with a heavily armored man in a dark hood. If you write everything you've witnessed so far, it is If you're right, everything you've witnessed so far, it is to be believed. Then the answers you need are on the other side of the gate that this man is guarding. If you're wrong, then he will certainly kill you. Charm the guard, show him the silver cross. Well, perhaps since I'm so charming now, I can try to talk my way in. Guards can be a real problem when it comes to getting into somewhere. You shouldn't be fortunately, they are often easily outsmarted. As you confidently stride up to the guard, you pull a piece of blank parchment from behind your back and fold it up to look like a letter. Message for your master at arms, sir. You call out as you near the hooded man, holding the parchment up and waving it before putting it back in your pocket. Give it here, the guard sighs, holding out his hand for the letter. No can do. I have direct orders to take this directly to whoever is in charge of your weapons. No middlemen. Something about intercepted shipments. The guard eyes you warily, but his body is relaxed. Intercepted shipments, you say? He asks curiously. Couriers getting too greedy. You sneer, grinding your teeth. He even gives you a sympathetic smile as you stride past him, entering deeper beneath the city, and into their inner sanctum. Wow, that worked. That really worked. Hooded men and women kneel in rows, murmuring twisted prayers to the silver dragon crosses in their hands. On the walls hang bodies, mutilated in ritualistic ways, with symbols painted in their own blood. Symbols that you have seen all across your encounters in the city. Symbols from the exorcist's doctrine. You dare not stay long enough to be recognized. Besides, you now know who is behind the atrocities. The question in your mind as you duck up a shadowy staircase is, why? Perhaps I can enter the palace archives now. Sit on the Visitors Council, visit the Royal Artist Community. I can go back to the catacombs. What about the square? Descend into the cistern, find someone to translate the runes you've found. And what about the basilica? Look for locked doors, enter the east gate. I'm not sure about going to the catacombs just yet. Perhaps sitting on the Visitors Council will uncover something, some of the things that are going on, at least from the visitor's point of view. I'm not sure. I think I'll try this one. You have been invited to the palace to something called the Visitors' Council. As any invitation to the palace is an opportunity to learn more, you accept. What you find at night is a large forum filled with people from all over Europe and the Middle East, all discussing the state of the city, what it is to be done about it. This is exactly what I wanted. There does not, however, seem to be any format or structure to the gathering, which strikes you as strange. How is this council supposed to get anything accomplished? It's at that moment that you notice a European woman standing in a far doorway. There is something striking about her. She's looking right at you. She then motions with her finger for you to follow, disappears around the corner. You are considering following when you hear someone call to you. You turn and see a crowd of men sitting around on couches amidst the gathering. One of them says, "You are the one who's investigating the murders, aren't you? Come, tell us what you've found." I'm more intrigued by the woman, because I feel the men just want to get information out of me, but I'm not sure if they will give me any new information. Hopefully I'm charming enough that I can turn down their invitation without upsetting anyone. You follow the woman through a kiosk to a private residence on the palace grounds. She leads you into a small courtyard where another stunning young woman is bathing in a pool by moonlight. This doesn't look good, but I'm having the feeling that there might be vampires or something. When she sees you, she emerges, brown hair clinging to her back and shoulders. "I was hoping you'd come," she says. Were you? You reply. "Indeed, since the moment I saw you." The woman whom you followed opens a satin robe, and the woman from the pool slips into it. "You may go," she says. The woman you followed bows, saying, "Countess Karnstein." She and the other servants leave. Then it is merely you and the countess. She sits down on a couch, pours a glass of wine. She holds it up for you. "Join me?" she asks. Her gaze is compelling. You walk over and sit next to her, taking the wine. You notice that she doesn't pour one for herself. The countess runs a hand through your hair. "You're very beautiful for a warrior," she says. "Thank you," you reply. She smiles, cocking her head to the side as her hand rests on your cheek. "But something tells me you've gone too long since anyone told you that." You tuck your hair behind your ear. "I'm not the type who needs a lot of compliments," you reply. She leans in, whispering, "Now, you are a woman of action. It's in your blood." Her lips brush against yours. You stab your dagger into her heart. She goes rigid, collapsing to the couch as her eyes become pearl white. As her eyes become pearl white, her fangs elongate through her stone-like paralysis. I knew something was going on. "I was fooled by a vampire once," you say. "Never again." You draw your weapon and slice her head from her shoulders. Blood pours out across the sofa as you stand. You swallow the glass of wine in one gulp, setting the glass on a table. You wipe the blood from your sword, walk away, having rid Istanbul from at least one hungry darkness. I'm very glad that I followed this lead. Didn't learn anything important, but I have rid Istanbul from one menace. We got a little bit of intelligence, and our dexterity has gone up. We are turning 11 out of 15. I'm not sure what's gonna happen at turn 15, but I think we might have to start getting quicker in our investigation, because I don't feel like I'm finding anything important. Investigate a crime scene, find someone to translate the runes you found. I'm not sure where I found these runes, to be honest. But they might be important. So I'll try to find someone to translate the runes. You have come to the city square in order to find a man who can translate the symbols you found written in blood the other night. Perhaps written in blood, it's alleging to the Dogmaster that wrote the message with his own blood. As you are searching for the rug where he usually sits, you hear a sudden commotion erupt from the crowd nearby. Shouts and cries of horror go up as you press your way through to see what is happening. There, sitting in a pool of his own blood, is a man tracing symbols onto the ground around him. His belly has been cut open. He has a dirty jagged knife in his hand. The symbols look similar to the ones you found the other night. You step forward. "What are you doing?" you ask. A faint smile crosses his crazy mouth as he replies, "Only what the king of the catacombs tell me to." The man's tongue is swollen and black inside his mouth. "Always what he tells me." "Speak to them with my words," he says. Show them that I yet rule the beneath." He sticks the knife back into his stomach with a painful cry and pulls it out again, freeing more blood. "Have you seen him?" the man asks through clenched teeth. Excuse me. "No, I haven't. Who is he?" The man spits blood out of his mouth and gets a crazy look in his eyes. "Look upon his works and despair." Finishes the final symbol on the ground, and as he does so, a sudden earthquake begins to shake the city. Bells ring, people everywhere scream. You are barely able to stay on your feet. The ground splits in the middle of the square. A huge cloud of dust explodes upward, followed by jagged rocks and debris. A few moments later, the rumbling ceases. Everything goes still. The crazy man lies dead on the ground, his blood seeping away across the cobblestones, his black, rotting tongue lolling out of his open mouth. As people regain their feet, frightened and shaken up, you look over at the upheaval of rock in the square. There, in the clearing dust, multiple tombs and sarcophagi jut upwards from the ground, their lids having fallen open with ancient skeletons collapsing out. They must be from the catacombs beneath the square. But how could that insane man have done all of this with his strange ritual? More than that, why? Got a little bit more of magic and more constitution. I feel like I have to go to the catacombs, but I would like to get just a little bit more information. Old Hatsune waiting nightfall. Meet an informant, investigate a crime scene, descend into the cistern. Scout a fortune teller, tell someone suspicious. Visit the Royal Artist Community. Artists normally know many things since they have connections with the street. Even if they are important artists, they should know things. I'm thinking between the artist and old old Hattusi. Perhaps speaking with old Hattusi. A few nights... Excuse me. A few nights back, you heard a man in the tavern saying that old Hattusi had emerged again down at the docks. The story goes that he is the oldest man in Istanbul, remembers everything that's happened, going back 100 years or more. Curious to find out if he knows anything about the current darkness enveloping the city, you seek him out. You finally spot him just before dawn, sitting on the end of a pier with a simple fish pole. The man in the tavern wasn't exaggerating. Old Hattusi looks like he might just be 100 years old. May I sit with you? You ask. Only if you want the harbor master to yell at you for loitering, which he will, as soon as he wakes up from that hangover. You sit and introduce yourself. He absently shakes your hand and says, "It's the best time for fishing, you know? Right before the sun comes up. That's when you get the biggest catch." You look at the poultry pole and line that he's using and say, "I want to ask you about Istanbul." "Well," he replies, "I've got time for one question before the sun's up. Make it good." Do you know the source of the evil that's infecting the city? Do you know how I can stop the evil that's infecting the city? I feel like if I continue my investigation, I will find the source. But I would like how to stop it. Because if I find it, but I don't know how to stop it, that's not going to be helpful. So, do you know how I can stop the evil that's infecting the city? Now that is an excellent question, the old man says, flexing his bare feet over the edge of the pier. You could lower taxes, you could kick out all of the Harrians, but all that's been tried before. No, I suspect the only way to save this city from what's coiling around it is to follow the gold. The gold always leads back to the source of the evil. Been that way for thousands of years, and when you finally find whoever's sitting on that pile of gold, you drive a stake through their heart. Just then, the old man's line gets attacked. See? What I tell you. You look down and gasp. There, hooked on the end of his line, is a small rowboat with two men inside, dead from crossbow bolts. Between them is a wooden chest. You jump off the pier and into the boat to inspect it. Opening the chest, you find it filled with gold coins. "Ha ha!" shouts old Hattusi. What I tell you, I'll be eating roasted chicken for months, and the harbor master can suck my corns. As you pick up one of the gold coins, you see that it is Romanian, with an inscription that says Voivod. It means prince. These coins were minted by Vlad the Impaler. Our strength, our agility remain the same, but we are getting a little bit better in everything else. "10 Constitution. 8 magic, 6 intelligence, and 7 dexterity. Not very agile, an average strength." Chapter 5. Your weapons clank sharply against the sword of the bearded knight. As a shingle gives way under your foot, and you barely manage to adjust your weight before you slide off the roof to a certain death. The knight presses his attack. You are forced backward along the dome of the Hagia Sophia Mosque. So we are fighting. I could disarm him and hold him for questioning, that would be really good. He's of no use to me dead. I'm not sure who I'm fighting, but I'm thinking probably a Knight of the Dragon. If I leap away, I'm not sure how dexterous I am to not fall down. And if I invoke wind magic, I guess perhaps he will fall down, so I'm gonna try to disarm him and hold him for questioning. You stand frozen, unsure as to whether you should finish the night off or try to help him and get information. As you stare at the knight, trying to come to a conclusion, his other hand flies up and snatches your ankle. With a crazed laugh, he lets go of the ledge and pulls you off the mosque with him, his screams being the only thing that fills your ears as you tumble to the earth below. You overestimated your own abilities and have failed. Next time, consider your actions more carefully. Wow, so I died just like that? And can we continue? Ooh, wow. Well, that was the end of the warrior. Man, I didn't think it was going to be like that. I guess I'll have to start a new playthrough then, but this was the end of our valiant warrior. I hope that you have enjoyed the video so far. If you have, you can like and subscribe. And I hope to see you on the next one. I will try to make another playthrough, and perhaps this time things will be better. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a very good day.